recording this session. Thank you. So once again, good evening. It's always so lovely to take a moment to just pause and to center ourselves, to come back to that place within ourselves that is our peace, which is our anchor in life. It's very powerful to have a method and a method to come back to. And I specifically chose this theme for the meditation on innocence, the spirit of innocence, because for me, innocence is like that untouched part of ourselves. It's sacred, it's powerful, it's soft and gentle, and yet it holds a kind of a strength within ourselves. And one of the key things is learning to come back to that place, because life demands a lot of us, doesn't it? From the time you wake up right till the time you tuck yourself into bed, there is so much that is pulling your attention, requiring your input, requiring your energy in some form or another. And we feel like depleted, because as things keep asking of us, and if we don't know how to replenish ourselves, then that feeling of depletion sets in. And one of the signs that I'm depleted within is that a growing discontentment begins. I begin to feel more and more unsatisfied. I could be achieving a lot externally. I could be very successful in the work that I'm doing. I could be earning well. I could be, having many likes on my social media accounts, whatever it is. But internally, the discontentment grows because I'm feeling depleted. I'm feeling depleted of my inner resources. I'm feeling depleted of my inner treasures. And so learning to center myself in such a way that I re-energize myself from inside, so that no matter what my environment is, no matter what the situations in my life is, it's like I have a kind of eternal stock within me, and I feel content with that inner stock. I'm not feeling depleted. I'm not feeling run down. I'm not feeling isolated in the process, but I'm feeling full. I'm feeling content. And so contentment is a very powerful virtue. I feel for me, it's a virtue that plays like as a yardstick, as a mirror for me to help me see what and where am I? Where am I in terms of my focus? Where am I in terms of my energy? Where am I in terms of how I'm allowing myself to get affected? So, recharging my inner battery, there's some simple practices that are useful. And I think many of us may have heard of these practices, but I thought it's always a good reminder to come back to some of these core practices. The first thing is really begin your day with a powerful intention. And that's why first thing in the morning, giving myself that time as a meditation, as just as time whereby I sit and I create that place of silence for myself. And through that, then I begin to really create that powerful intention. That intention that I set for myself, it does a number of things for me. Number one, it sets my compass, my internal compass. It sets my sense of direction for my thinking. And that's critical because our attention gets pulled in many different directions. And if I don't have my own focus in terms of my own thinking, then many other things, I become like a vacuum that sucks in whatever is in the environment. Someone one described it very powerfully. He said it's like as we step out of the door of our homes or our spaces, we're stepping into a pool of many thoughts and many emotions, etc. And if I don't have an internal clear focus, then I become a vacuum that just sucks in what is in my environment. So creating that powerful intention is important. In Hindi, and I'm going to use the Hindi because the words have a very powerful connection one from the other. The word for intention is bhav, intention, creating that powerful intent for the self. But my intention, as I said, begins to influence or guide my thinking. And in so guiding my thinking, we know that there's a powerful connection between my thoughts and my feelings. So my intention then begins to influence my feelings. And it's like, charging the inner self is about aligning as well. It's about aligning that head part of us, the intellect part of ourselves, and the heart, learning to let both work in sync with each other. Because that internal alignment that I feel is what then enables me to feel that sense of contentment or satisfaction. So intention influences my feelings, my bhavna. And when my feelings are in tune, connected, I feel content, I'm feeling joyful in a sense. Sometimes it may not be just joyful, but I just feel peaceful irrespective of what is happening around me. So intention leads to feelings, and feelings then, so that together my intention and my feelings then create my nature, which is known as Swabhav. So Swabhav is a very lovely word, which means my feelings towards myself is my nature then. So I respond to my world then on the basis of this internal nature that I create. So it's a lovely trajectory to understand for the self. And therefore, as a practice, to always start off by really creating a powerful intention for yourself in the morning. The second thing that is very valuable, and that is that we live in an age of a lot of information. And, many times people wake up in the morning and the first thing you're scrolling through your social media stuff and checking news headlines and all of that. It's like we're filling ourselves with events of the world. And it's good to be in the know-how. I'm not saying we need to be ignorant of what is happening, but I'm saying that first thing in the morning, nourish yourself first. So always take time to read something that feeds your spirit, not just your head and your intellect, but feeds your spirit. Read something, listen to something that really uplifts you, helps you to nurture a perspective that is that serves you well, a perspective that helps you to remain light and helps you to engage from a place of understanding and wisdom and maturity. So feed yourself. And that again is key. I think one of the things that I have found very useful is that we can sometimes just end up spinning in our own thinking. And it doesn't take us beyond a certain pattern and perspective. And therefore, I find it very helpful and useful to actually, in the morning especially, read something, study something, listen to something that is not your own thinking, but that is spiritual and that uplifts you. So whatever you feel is your source of intake in that regard. It could be your scripture, it could be someone that you find very inspiring, it could be a book of, very beautiful poetry, whatever it is, but feed your mind. Um, the problem for many of us is that um, we can very easily, and sometimes it's a bit of an addiction, um, very easily get addicted to the news feeds that we get, or our devices. They tend to pull our attention a lot, and a lot of what we are being fed through our devices, where there's no guarantee how much of that is true. The expression that goes around that we're living in a post-truth world. I just find it so interesting that these days, when you look on the BBC website, I sort of just check the headlines out regularly, and you actually see one section there that says verifying stories and videos, because that's it. So many things are generated, so many things are from the past, so many things are misrepresented, that what we being fed, even if we think we're just innocently looking at something, it's leaving impressions, it's leaving belief systems that are being reinforced. It's creating emotion as well. So therefore, as a practice, don't engage in any of that in the morning. First thing, create a powerful intention for yourself. Second thing, feed yourself with something that's empowering you, that's pure, that's coming from an elevated source that begins to feed your spirit, which is very, very key. Then the next thing in terms of recharging the self, because I think for me, recharging my inner battery is also about keeping my sense of purpose alive. I find that I have a lot of energy to do things when I know that what I'm doing and what I'm engaging in is in alignment with what I feel is my sense of purpose. And by sense of purpose, I mean that which gives me meaning in what I'm doing. It's like I know that what I'm engaged in brings benefit beyond just myself, but has an impact on improving things and making things easier, in creating beauty, in creating an experience, in creating an atmosphere, whatever it is. But it's like always connecting and creating that focus for myself, that what I'm engaged in is in alignment with my sense of purpose. Now, sometimes people get stuck with this in terms of saying, but how do I know what my sense of purpose is? And I know a very nice definition that I asked Mike George once. Mike, what is your sense of purpose? And he shared it very beautifully. And he told me, to him, purpose simply means an expression of love. And so, whatever I am doing, is it giving me that opportunity to express love? Is love infused in what I am doing? You know? And so sometimes it's not about the task, but it's about the how of how I'm fulfilling that task. And that attention is important. It's like I could be engaged in a very simple task of preparing a meal. But when I keep that awareness that in this moment, what am I doing? I'm infusing this creation with an energy of love, an energy of care, an energy of joy in what I'm doing. So bringing out my sense of purpose in what I am doing energizes me. And it keeps my inner battery charged. I don't feel depleted then, but I feel um, there's like something that sense of meaning will keep generating enthusiasm for me in that way. So that's the third aspect, as an attitude, which is very important and is a focus for the self. That's important. The next thing I wanted to share as well, and that is really it's a very spiritual um, awareness to hold. And it really challenges us on some levels because many times we hold on to an identity of ourselves that's based on our role and how we are perceived by others. And that's the ego identity. And as long as we have the ego identity, and if we operating from that, there will always be a couple of things that inevitably happens in me. I end up comparing myself. I end up counting what I do. And so then I do, and then I hold an expectation of a return for what I do. I can end up competing with others as well. Um, and that can often lead to me trying to, um, I can end up working from a superiority complex or inferiority complex. And so then I can either feel very disheartened and feel small and irrelevant, or I can end up being very critical of others because I need to feel better and bigger than others. So that's the whole ego game that comes up. And one awareness that helps, and it's a deep spiritual practice that we need to engage in, and that is that I am a soul, I am consciousness, and as consciousness, I am a child of God. I'm divinely created. I have inherited all pure qualities. That's my true nature. Um, and that in my engagement with people and situations, I hold the consciousness that I am an instrument. It's like I am just allowing for a very pure energy to flow through me and not from me. And when I hold this awareness that I'm holding this um, attitude that I am just an instrument and I'm allowing this energy through me and not from me, it keeps me light. It really keeps me light. I have seen the example of Daddy Janki, and some of you may have met and seen Sister Jayanti, who came recently to South Africa. And I mean, Sister Jayanti is now 76 years old. And yet, if you look at her timetable and what's asked of her. It's incredible. But what gives that energy, you know? And in my observation and interaction with her, what I've learned from her is really that they really work on themselves in a sense to say, I am an instrument in this moment to offer love, care, understanding based on my own spiritual study and my experience. And so, because there's that feeling of what is coming through me rather than I'm giving, but rather what is coming through me as a result of what I have been nurtured by and exposed by, it's like there's never a feeling of giving. And because there's no feeling of giving, there's no feeling of becoming depleted. And so I found that always keeps one light and not heavy and feeling burdened by so-called responsibility, but really feeling light and being in the moment and being present and offering wholeheartedly what you can in the present, and then becoming detached as well. Because you know what you've done in the present, and then you can let go. So that is also a lovely aspect to keep, and that also helps in terms of saying that in every given moment, I'm not alone in responding to the situation, but I cultivate a relationship with the divine so that my relationship with the divine supports me in that moment. Um, and I think that is important because it's almost like we become heavy or we feel depleted because many times we are looking at the present through the eyes of the past. Um, and so my own experience had been that when I look at the present through the eyes of the past, I'm trying to fix that past all the time. And so it just takes a lot more energy than what it should. So bringing in the presence of the divine helps me then to really be able to just be light and be centered and and keep a sense of freshness to the moment rather than feeling a kind of a burden of the past. Um, and that then helps me then to stay light and stay present and stay free and just feel energized. And then the last thing that I wanted to highlight, and that is this aspect of self compassion. And in this morning's lesson that we had, um, the aspect, of really that can I hold good wishes for myself? Um, Very often we're very focused on giving to others, but it is so helpful and important as well that do I just hold a good feeling towards myself? And good feeling towards myself means I hold faith in myself. It's like I trust that there is that spirit of innocence, that spirit of divinity that is in me, and not to lose faith in that part of me. I may make mistakes, I may trip up. It's not that I won't, but in spite of all of that, I don't let go of that faith that there is a part of me that is divinely created, that's very pure, that's light. And I hold on to that vision of myself so that it gives me the courage to keep moving forward and not giving up on the self, not getting disheartened on the self. And so that's an element of self-compassion. And I find that together with holding faith in oneself, it's also about giving myself that space to heal, because sometimes I have to heal. I've accumulated things, and so I have to give myself that space to heal. I was yesterday just visiting um, someone who lost her dad recently, and she just said it's like about healing and letting go, but she's just kept herself so busy in terms of organizing for the funeral and this and that and the other. She hasn't given herself that space to heal. And many times that's what we do. When we have to face with discomfort, um, we keep ourselves so busy so that we have an excuse not to look at the discomfort. But the more that we push down that discomfort, the more it begins to um, play itself out in other ways. Ill health, um, reactive nature. I can become reactive in my relationships, etc. So, a part of self compassion and self care is to give myself that space that I need to heal when I do need to heal. That, trusting my heart, acknowledging what I'm feeling, and finding healthy ways of releasing if there are feelings I'm holding on to that are not serving me anymore, that are perhaps negative or angry or painful. So it's like breathing it out, letting go. Um, if we don't give ourselves that kind of space to heal, um, we can become very judgmental of ourselves as well. And that plays itself out that we become critical of others or very insecure with others because we don't feel safe with our own hearts. And that is why it's important to allow for that level of healing to take place. Um, and so that's one aspect of self-compassion that I find that is very key. And sometimes we forget to give ourselves that space. And then finally, what I'd like to just share as well is, to recharge the self, a very simple tool, and that's gratitude. Um, a gratitude journal, just learning to practice gratitude in terms of acknowledging the people in your life that you're grateful for, acknowledge things in your body that you're grateful for, acknowledging your situation and being grateful for, just looking at nature and being grateful for that, because gratitude and a conscious practice of gratitude creates a very powerful internal mindset, which then builds that kind of contentment that I was speaking about, so that I don't feel depleted, so that I can actually feel renewed and I can feel recharged each time. So, those were some of my thoughts around this topic of recharging the inner battery. And I'd like to just leave a little space if anyone has any questions or anything like that that you would like to ask. You can either unmute yourself and ask. It would be nice to have a few voices in the room, or you could just write it in the chat, whichever you prefer. But yeah, please do. Okay. Anyone? I see there's one or two comments, which I'll just take up. Um, okay, so Lakshmi is just commenting on the aspect of connecting with God. Um, um, that where I feel I'm an instrument in the hands of God, I'm the child of God. I get the strength and all powers from the divine, the ocean of love and peace. Yeah, definitely. I think we begin to feel that we become a conduit for something bigger than ourselves. And I find that that connection and relationship with the divine as well, then always aligns me with my sense of purpose. It always um, enhances my capacity to give. I always feel that this is what I'm capable of. But when I connect and I allow and I work as an instrument, I begin to see a more unlimited level of impact that is being created. And I think key thing within this is um, you know, I make myself present and available for what is needed in that moment. And then I let go. I don't have to try to assess what's the impact, but I trust what is the impact. And I think that is a key thing because the ego likes counting. But when I really work from that pure awareness of that consciousness of the self as a soul, a child of the divine, then I don't need to count and I don't need to know. Um, I always like using that expression that angels are not seen, but their impact is felt. And so, can I really work like that? Can I really just offer and let go? Yeah. Okay, so I want to see if there's anyone who would like to ask a question or comment. Anyone? It'd be good to hear a voice or two.
Um, Hello, Sister Zarina. Yeah, I
Hi.
just wanted to make a comment about what you said earlier. You said we tend to see ourselves through the eyes of the past, and it sort of impacted on me because I didn't quite see that, about myself. And because sometimes we go about criticizing ourselves and we don't really realize that we're not actually looking at ourselves in the present,
Yeah,
you know. Yeah.
yeah. No, it's so important. And because we keep seeing ourselves uh through the eyes of the past in a way, um, it's like we limit ourselves from taking steps forward then as well. Um, and sometimes I find that it's like a bit what tends to happen is that, if I keep looking at my own mistakes, then I end up also looking at others' mistakes. And if I keep looking at people because of what they did yesterday, etc., it's like that perception of myself that I hold on to becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You'd find that it's like with some people the best of you emerges and with some people the worst of you emerges, and it's because on one level it's how they tend to see you as well that pulls that out of you. So if that's what happens to me when what someone else is doing that for me, then that's what I'm doing to others as well, and that's what I'm doing to myself as well. So it's very important. It's like to keep a pause in my day and just to watch, um, what is the attitude with which I'm stepping into this next moment with. And I find, especially when it comes to things that can be rather challenging, that's when it's very important to really just pause and say, okay, am I being present? Am I being clean in this moment? Or am I holding on to something of the past and letting that influence me? Yeah. It just requires ongoing checking, Yeah. Good. Anyone else would like to ask or share something?
Uh, Hi, sister. This is Charlene speaking. I just wanted to say the session is so empowering, so powerful. Our energy depleted so easily because we have this fear of being judged, or we tend to compare ourselves with others. But there is so many. I mean, the tools that you have actually mentioned or brought up, I will definitely use it going forward. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Glad it's useful. But yeah, it's so true. I did a nice exercise the other day, because in our morning lesson, it was highlighted, don't make mistakes. Be aware of the mistakes you make, because the mistakes you make becomes the leakages. It's like I build up a certain amount of internal power, and then I lose that power because of the mistakes I make. And so I just sort of pause for a moment and jot it down for myself. Okay, what are the mistakes that I make? And it's like simple things, but it's things that we sometimes forget. But it's like remembering the past, making judgments of others, just sometimes having thoughts that are not very appreciative of others in a way, looking at faults in others, or things like that. And all of these things which has sometimes become such a norm. We think it's normal to think like that, but those are our leakages, those are the mistakes that we make. And it's not that we're bad people, but it's just how we've been conditioned, because of that's the way the world functions. And so we've been conditioned in thinking like that. So just to recognize that is a mistake and know that don't go there. Just don't go there, and be aware that it's draining you of what you value most. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else would like to share or put an input?
Sister, it's Serena again. I just want to. You said something just now, a couple of minutes ago. You
Mm,
said something. Just wanting to just get how you said it. Um, you said something in us brings out that
mm.
thing in the other person. Was that correct? Was that
Yeah,
how you said it?
that's
Can't
how.
remember.
Yeah. What
Yes.
happens? Yeah, yeah. What happens is, like, let's say, my relationship with my child, for example. And if I keep knowing and seeing that my child has a tendency of being very untidy, or whatever the case may be, so every time I look at my child with that vision and attitude, it's like that's what I draw out of that kind of behavior from my child. But if I have a different vision and attitude towards my child and say, um, I see that you've done pretty well, or, encouraging vision or an appreciative vision, it's like you begin to see how the response towards you changes because your vision is different. So that's what we do to each other. We draw out responses from each other, based on the kind of perception we hold of each other. So one element is what we do to each other, but that's what we do to ourselves as well. The same kind of attitude that I hold towards myself, that's what I'm drawing out of myself in that regard. So it becomes like a bit of um, a, um, a self-fulfilling prophecy, if I may put it like that. What I see is what I draw out. Yeah.
Thank you, sister. That's something I have to work on because you're
Yeah.
not aware of it in your daily life, how
Yeah.
you, your behavior. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. And it's subtle, it's attitude, it's subtle, it's attitude, because sometimes it's what is happening in my own mind. And that's where it's all happening. It's not necessarily that I'm even saying something, but it's what's happening in my mind. And that's what I tend to generate as a vibration. Yeah. I always like reminding myself, that we are vibrational beings before we are seeing or talking beings. You know, it's like we feel each other before we even see or hear each other. And that's why to know that what I am holding inside creates quite a powerful impact. Yeah. Okay. Someone asked where the recording will be. The recording will be on our YouTube channel, Brahmakumari South Africa. Okay. And just give it a little bit of time. It will be uploaded tomorrow sometime, the recording. Okay. Any last thoughts, or are you all good? There's some nice practices for you all to work on, at least for a little while, and see how it builds your internal contentment, because that's a good yardstick for the self to know that there's shift and there's movement and there's growth internally. Okay, thank you. If there isn't any other question or so, then I'm going to just play a meditation to end it all off with. Okay, great. So I invite you all to sit comfortably upright, taking a deep breath in and gently allow yourself to breathe out. Just let your breath in be slow and conscious, and let your out breath be longer and slower than your in breath. And with each breath, begin to feel your body beginning to relax at a deeper and deeper level. Feel your shoulders dropping. Feel yourself just relaxing. The body becoming lighter and lighter. And in this moment of quietness that you begin to feel as you're relaxing your body, turn your attention inwards. And for a moment, just become aware of your inner world. Just ask yourself the question, how content am I feeling? How full does my heart feel? And there may be a mixture of feelings, but for now, just allow yourself to just release whatever you're holding inside, and just tell yourself, for this moment, in this time, everything is good, and I am good. Give yourself permission to just become totally present. And so in this moment, in this time, everything is good, and I am good. And as you hold that thought in your awareness, just feel that sense of fullness and lightness within you. And know that beneath all the layers of memories and impressions that I hold, at the core of my being, there's lightness and love and peace. And so in this moment, I remind myself that I am peace. That gentle, light, pure energy of peace. And I feel anchored in that peace, secure in that peace. That peace is a source of strength, and it is also a source of deep joy within me. And I know that when I return to this place within me, in my heart, this is how the divine has created me. And so I feel deeply connected with the divine. That one source of love and light and compassion, that I feel open to receiving that light and love. I feel refreshed. I am peace. So thank you, everyone. And enjoy your weekend and take care. Om Shanti. Till we connect again next time. Shanti.